Yo guys, Haku here with my review of One Piece anime episode 730, and this may be a short review because, I don't know, I don't think I have a ton of talking points, but in general, before I break it down, I'm going to say that I really enjoyed this episode. I really liked it, genuinely, and I definitely didn't think I was going to. I thought this was going to be a slow, boring, just filler feeling. Even though One Piece filler is good, it would feel more like terrible Naruto filler. But yeah, I thought this was going to be just a terrible feeling, incredibly slow, badly animated, reused animations everywhere, birdcage pushing episode. And I was proven very wrong. I think that the way they did it was a very smart move, taking an episode that they thought a lot of people were probably going to dislike because of the low content, and allocating a bit of their time and effort into making it look nice and flow nicely, and adding some things to it rather than stretching things out to make it so that it was at least, so that even if you knew you weren't going to like it, you would at least think it was mediocre. If you didn't think it was good, you'd at least think it wasn't terrible. And honestly, I thought last week was terrible when it was a thing that a bit of people were excited for, seeing Sabo and Burgess, but I thought last week was really bad, one of the worst episodes in all of One Piece, and I think this episode did so much better. The animation looked a million times better, there's not even a contest there, and the animation was good nearly the entirety of this. The only bad parts were close to the beginning with the citizens, where there weren't reused animations, but there were a lot of very similar ones. Like, it was a bit redundant. It would be different animations of citizens running, but we would just see like 5 different groups of citizens running. Sorry, camera probably shaked there a bit. I was adjusting. Also, starting off, I would say that the recap for this was really short and it got to the point. Of course, I thought last week's episode was terrible, so they didn't really have a lot to do for recap, but I think the recap was short for this one. Really nice. Probably one of the better recaps they've done because they kept it to such a short time. Now, at the part where the little dandelion fluffs are falling and we get the allies being revived, which I think was in canon filler, was nice looking. I like that. What I mean by in canon filler is that they said it, but they didn't specifically show them being knocked out and then getting revived by the Manchuri's power thing. So I thought it was nice that they showed that, and the music and animation during that was really nice, like surprisingly nice. I really liked the way Hyrodine getting up was animated, so yeah. Another part where the animation really stood out and looked nice was Zoro, Kinemon, and Kanjuro activating their armament haki and pushing back on the birdcage. Now, again, I'm not sure if Kinemon and Kanjuro activating their haki. I think that was in the manga, but I don't think it was as pronounced. I don't think they made like as big a deal about it as they did in the show, but I'm glad they did it how they did. It looked really nice. And like, especially for anime-only watchers, it looked very, it was a nice reveal, because up until that point, you don't really know, and then you see that happening the way it did, and you're like, oh crap, that looks really cool. They have like, Kinemon's especially was almost like Zoro's, where it was the cool like purple and black swirl around the blade. That was really nice. Really enjoyed that part a lot. Now we get the Doflamingo family and the citizens going back and forth, and the Doflamingo family shooting that one guy in the chest. That was all super cool. And then Luffy's allies coming in to stop them, and that had a couple like still frames where it was just a still frame shaking and with like the filter over it changing. But even then, it wasn't bad. It was, when that happened, it was short, and it was done in a way to where it really wasn't very bad. I didn't mind it at all. And I also think that was odd, because there was and still is so much censorship. Ugh, that was hard to say. So much censorship with Doflamingo impaling the guys on his string that all the blood and stuff in the bodies are just like purple silhouettes still. but yet they show the dude just getting shot in the chest and the blood from that or whatever. But whatever. I don't think something like One Piece needs to be overly censored, so I mean, I don't really get the point of... Because they could have done the Doflamingo thing without it looking too brutal or anything, so I don't know why it's over-censored like that. Like, something being censored is not always bad, but over-censorship is pretty much always terrible, and that is over-censorship. That is censoring so much that it takes away from the work in a significant way. And I think it does take away that just the bodies and the blood on his string are randomly purple silhouette, like everybody bleeds purple or something out of nowhere. But I've got to say that Doflamingo was way, way better animated, just looked a million times better this episode than last episode, and the same is true with the short Sabo and Jesus Burgess thing. And again, the Sabo and Burgess thing is... I don't remember that in the manga. I actually think last episode is the last we saw for a little bit of them in the manga. So I like that they added this in, and honestly, the short 1 minute of this episode was better than the entirety of last episode with them. Because even last episode, they were like a minute and a half, and it was a terribly animated minute and a half with only one decent part, and that was the Dragon Claw Fire Emperor thing, and even that was a bit ruined because of him hitting Burgess looked really cool, and then they immediately follow that up with like a PNG of still Burgess flying backwards into a PNG building that just falls straight down through the ground. So that was really terrible looking last week, and they really improved on it this week. Also, we get to see that Law's arm is stitched back on and bandaged. And I also liked all of the, seeing all the Tentada and Frankie and all of the allies pushing back the birdcage. That was really cool looking. And it was also really cool looking when Doflamingo sped up the process of it closing. So now we have a great plot point of the birdcage is set to close faster than Luffy is set to heal. Now, the very end, we get Law coming back, and we see, hey, Law is back in action. He's taking Luffy to heal him or whatever from what he's saying. So, that was nice, too. Overall, plot progression was good. They got through about, like, the end half of one chapter and the beginning half of another chapter. So, it wasn't terrible with pacing. I didn't mind it at all, really, when it came to pacing. So, no complaints there. The animation and music were pretty genius, I think, really. Like, I was not expecting something this good for an episode with, like, this little of big plot points. Oh, and we saw the Mancherry's power thing, but I don't think anybody likes Mancherry anyway, so who cares? Nobody likes Mancherry anyway. But, yeah, just bringing that up, Mancherry's power reveal thing, that was, like, 20 seconds of Leo just recapping it. But yeah, so nothing too big story-wise, but they had some big things, and I thought it was really cool, really nice looking, so definitely liked it a million times better than last episode. It was well done. You could tell they put some time into it, and that's always appreciated by me. And I would say that they made this part of the story more than bearable. They made it enjoyable. You were actually able to enjoy what they were doing with this episode, even though that for those of us that read the manga, this is not a very exciting part. And I think we still have another episode or two that, again, they're likely to be bad, but if they're done as well as this episode, they could potentially be good. So I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the next episode or two. I'll just have to go into it and see what happens. So in the end, I'm giving this episode of the One Piece anime, episode 730, an 8 minutes that are 20 minutes or so in real life out of 10. 8 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know if I droned on a bit there about, like, just trying to get my point across that I didn't think it was going to be good, but it was good. I think that objectively I enjoyed watching it, and I really liked it. It's just that it's not the best it could have been. Not a ton of huge, massive stuff happened. And at the end of the day, the storyline is just Dressrosa as a whole is still being dragged on in the anime pretty badly. So yeah. Like if you guys liked it, comment down there what you thought of my thoughts or what you thought of the episode. Subscribe for more One Piece, at least 3 or 4 videos a week. Same with Tower of God, and at least 3 a week of The Walking Dead. I do 2 anime reviews every week, so subscribe if you want that as well. Follow on Twitter for updates of what the channel is doing, and I will see you all next time.